Back in 2018, a major European retailer, we'll call them Retail Co. to protect the guilty, decided to upgrade their Enterprise Resource Planning ERP system. ERP, the software that runs everything: inventory, orders, accounting, HR, supply chain. The old system worked. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. But it was outdated. The vendor was ending support, and their competitors were modernizing. So Retail Co. embarked on a digital transformation. The budget, $500 million timeline, 18 months, and their consultants promised a modern ERP that integrates well, is cloud-based, and provides real-time visibility across all operations. Now what they got, after taking 6 months to go live. The inventory system couldn't track stock locations. Orders were not processing. Accounting couldn't close the books. And a completely broken supply chain within 12 months. Revenue was down 25%. They were $500 million over budget. The consultants were fired after being paid, and the executive team was replaced within 18 months. The company filed for bankruptcy, not from market competition, not from disruption, not from economic downturn, but from a software upgrade, and Retail Co. isn't alone. I'm Tony, and this is the Breakdown Economy, where we examine failures to reveal patterns you need to see. Today, why enterprise software implementations fail 70% of the time, and why companies keep making the same catastrophic mistakes anyway. To understand why ERP migrations are so dangerous, you need to understand what ERP actually is. ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. That's corporate speak for the software that runs your entire business. ERP systems manage finance or accounting, general ledger, AR, AP, financial reporting, supply chain, procurement, inventory, logistics, warehouse, manufacturing, production planning, scheduling, quality, sales, order management, CRM, customer data, HR, payroll, benefits, time tracking, recruiting, and provide analytics, reporting, dashboards, business intelligence. Basically, if your company does it, your ERP tracks it, which means if your ERP breaks, your company stops. And these systems are everywhere. Global ERP market, over $50 billion annually. ERP platforms are growing 10% per year, and they are used by Fortune 500, mid-market, and increasingly small and medium-sized businesses. Major vendors are SAP, market leader, at 25% market share, Oracle, enterprise focus, Microsoft Dynamics, mid-market, Workday, cloud native, HR finance, NetSuite, Oracle-owned SMB focus. If you work for a company with 500 plus employees, you use an ERP system. Whether you know it or not, I have used SAP and Microsoft Dynamics in the past. So why do companies migrate ERP systems? Common triggers are vendor ending support, forced upgrade, or switch. Your version goes end of life in 18 months. Must migrate or lose security patches, compliance, merger, acquisition, incompatible systems. Company A uses SAP, Company B uses Oracle. Need to consolidate onto one platform, digital transformation, buzzword-driven. Board demands modernization. Consultants promise cloud, AI, real-time insights, functionality gaps. The current system can't do what's needed. Expanding to new markets products. Current system is technically limited. Cost reduction, suppose savings. Cloud ERP will be cheaper than on-premise. Spoiler, it rarely is. All of these can be legitimate reasons to migrate. The problem isn't deciding to migrate. The problem is how companies execute migrations. Because the statistics are brutal. Let's talk about how often ERP implementations fail. Research data shows 70% of ERP projects fail to achieve stated objectives. 50% run over budget, average 56% over. 60% take longer than planned, average 2x timeline. And 40% of benefits are never realized. Here are a couple of historic disasters. Lidl, Germany 2018. SAP implementation, 500 million spent, 7 years of effort, project abandoned without going live, wrote off entire investment. Hershey, USA, 1999. Halloween season, peak candy sales. New SAP system goes live. Orders couldn't be fulfilled. Lost 150 million in sales. Stock price dropped 8%. Nike, USA, 2000. i2 Technologies implementation. Supply chain system failed. 100 million in lost sales. Stock dropped 20%. $400 million class action lawsuit, Target Canada, 2013. SAP implementation for Canadian expansion. Inventory data. 70% inaccurate. Empty shelves, overstock in warehouses, contributing factor to a $2 billion loss. Target exited Canada entirely. These aren't small companies making amateur mistakes. These are Fortune 500 companies with sophisticated IT departments, expensive consultants, Big Four firms, massive budgets, and years of planning, and they still failed catastrophically. So what's going wrong? Let's break down the specific failures that kill ERP implementations, because this isn't random. This is a pattern that repeats across industries. Failure. Number 1. The Big Bang approach. Here's how most companies think an ERP migration should work. The Big Bang approach. Phase 1. Plan everything. 6 to 12 months. Requirements gathering. System configuration. Data migration prep. Testing phase. 2. Cutover weekend. Friday night. Turn off the old system. Saturday, Sunday. Migrate all data. Turn on the new system. Monday morning. Everyone uses the new system. Phase 3. Deal with catastrophic failure. Monday. Nothing works. Inventory wrong. Orders failing. Accounting broken. Total chaos. The Big Bang fails because impossible to test everything. Real business complexity can't be fully simulated. Edge cases only appear in production. User behavior under real pressure differs from testing. No fallback plan. Old system is off. If the new system fails, you're dead in the water. Can't roll back. Data has already changed. Everyone is trained on theory, not reality. Training before go live is theoretical. Real system behaves differently under load. Users panic when things don't work as trained. All modules fail simultaneously. Finance broken and inventory broken and orders broken. Can't prioritize fixes. Everything is critical. Support teams overwhelmed. The alternative, phased migration. Phase 1, migrate finance only. Test with real data, real users. Fix problems before moving on. Old system is still running for everything else. Phase 2, add supply chain. Finance proven stable. Can roll back supply chain if needed. Smaller blast radius. Phase 3, add manufacturing, sales, etc. Incremental risk. Learn from each phase. Why don't companies do this? 1. Consultants push Big Bang. More dramatic, looks impressive. 2. Executives want transformation, not gradual improvement. 3. Running 2 systems in parallel is expensive. 4. Pressure for visible results fast. So, they choose the risky approach, and when it fails, they're shocked. Failure. Number 2. Process re-engineering disaster. Now let's talk about the second major failure mode, forcing your business to fit the software. Here's the pitch consultants make. Your current processes are inefficient. Our ERP embodies best practices from thousands of companies. Don't customize, adapt your processes to the software. This is called process re-engineering, or vanilla implementation. The idea: instead of customizing the software to fit your business, change your business to fit the software. Does that sound logical? Here's the problem. Your business processes exist for reasons. For example, a retail company standard ERP process. Order, pick from warehouse, ship, invoice. Actual business process. Order, check if VIP customer, expedite if yes, check inventory across 3 distribution centers, route to optimal warehouse, pick, custom packaging for VIP, ship, invoice with negotiated terms. That complexity, it's not inefficiency, it's how you compete. VIP customers expect special treatment. Multi-warehouse routing saves shipping costs. Negotiated terms close large deals. If you force vanilla ERP, you lose competitive advantages, alienate key customers, can't fulfill commitments made before migration. The alternative problem: over-customization. Some companies go the other direction. Customize the ERP to exactly match our current processes. This will fail because customization is expensive, say $500 per hour consultants. Customization breaks with updates. Vendor patches don't work. Customization creates technical debt, and it will take 2 to 3 times longer to implement. Too vanilla breaks your business. Too customized never finishes, never upgrades. The Goldilocks zone. Adapt where sensible. Customize where critical. Most companies pick the extremes. Few find the middle. Now let's talk about the economics of ERP implementations, because the money involved is staggering. Typical ERP implementation budget: software licenses, 20%, $2 million on a $10 million project. Implementation consultants, 50%, $5 million. Internal staff time, 20%, $2 million. And infrastructure and hardware, 10%, $1 million. Half the budget goes to consultants. And here's where the incentives get misaligned. Consultant incentives, paid by hour or person month. Longer project equals more revenue. More complexity equals more billable hours. And customization equals ongoing maintenance contracts. Your incentives are: finish fast, keep it simple, minimize ongoing costs. See the problem? What consultants do. 1. Scope creep. While we're at it, why not also upgrade? 2. Gold plating. Best practice is to implement all modules at once. 3. Dependency creation. You'll need us for ongoing support. 4. Change orders. That requirement wasn't in the original scope. Typical progression. Year 1, planning. Initial estimate, $10 million. This is a fixed price contract. Year 2, implementation. Change order. Number 1. Additional $2 million. Requirements changed. Change order. Number 2. Additional $1.5 million. Integration complexity. Change order. Number 3. Additional $1 million. Data quality issues. Year 3. Go live delayed. Extension. Additional $3 million. Need more testing time. Crisis support. Additional $2 million. Emergency resources. Final cost. $19.5 million. 95% over budget. And this is normal. Now, the consultant's defense: requirements changed. Client didn't have data ready. Business processes are more complex than documented. And they're partially correct. Clients often don't know their own processes, have terrible data quality, keep changing requirements, and underestimate complexity. But consultants also have zero incentive to finish quickly, keep the scope controlled, reduce complexity, minimize customization. When your consultant makes more money, the longer the project takes. Guess how long the project takes? Failure number 4, data migration nightmare. And now we get to the part that actually kills most implementations: data migration. The naive assumption: we'll just export data from the old system and import it into the new system. If only. What data migration actually means. Step 1. Extract data from the old system. Multiple systems: ERP, legacy, spreadsheets, databases. Inconsistent formats, incomplete documentation. Some systems have no export function. Step 2. Clean the data. Duplicates: customer ABC Corp and ABC Corporation. Chuck same. Missing fields: no email for 30% of customers. Invalid data: zip codes in phone number field. Orphaned records: orders for non-existent customers. Step 3. Transform to new format. Old system: 50 fields for customer. New system: 80 fields for customer, 30 new required fields. Where do you get missing data? Step 4. Map relationships. Old chart of accounts, 200 GL codes. New chart of accounts, 500 GL codes. Map old, new, manual, error prone. Step 5. Validate. Do totals match? Do relationships preserve? Can you reconcile old versus new? Step 6. Load into the new system. In correct order, customers before orders, with referential integrity, all foreign keys valid, without breaking performance. And here's the part. Companies always underestimate. Data quality is usually terrible. Typical data quality issues found during migration. 40% of customer records have incomplete data. 25% of product codes are duplicates or obsolete. 15% of transactions can't be reconciled. 30% of data exists only in spreadsheets, not in any system. That last one is critical. The shadow it problem, what executives think. All business data is in the ERP. We export it, import it into the new system, done. Reality. Finance team has 50 Excel files with critical calculations. Sales team has access database of customer preferences. Warehouse has custom FileMaker app for bin locations. Purchasing has SharePoint lists for approved vendors. None of that is in the ERP, and during migration you discover the ERP was never the system of record for critical data. The spreadsheets were. What kills companies? Go live weekend, migrate the ERP data. Monday morning, discover that. Inventory quantities are wrong. Real data was in the warehouse spreadsheet. Customer pricing incorrect. Deals were in sales Excel files. Product costs off. Purchasing had actual costs in a separate database. Your ERP now has garbage data, and you turned off the old system. There's no going back. So ERP migrations fail constantly. That's established. But why does this matter beyond enterprise software? Because ERP failures reveal 3 patterns about large-scale change that apply to any organization. Pattern number 1. Complexity. Kills, but complexity is invisible. ERP implementations fail because companies underestimate complexity. But here's the thing. The complexity is invisible from the outside. What executives see? We're replacing System A with System B. How hard can it be? What's actually involved? 20 years of customizations in old system. Workarounds users develop that aren't documented. Data spread across 15 systems, plus spreadsheets, integrations with 30 other applications, business processes that evolved organically, tribal knowledge held by people who might leave, political fiefdoms protecting their data. This pattern appears everywhere. Simple government IT modernization. Looks like replace old system with new. Reality. 40-year-old COBOL code, no documentation, original developers retired, quick office relocation. Looks like move to new building. Reality. Network topology, phone systems, access control, and employee workflows all disrupted. Easy merger integration. Looks like combine 2 companies. Reality. Incompatible cultures, systems, processes, compensation structures. The pattern. Complexity compounds silently over years. By the time you try to change it, you discover no one understands the full system. Dependencies are undocumented. Changing one thing breaks 5 others, and executives never see this complexity until the project fails. Because complexity lives in spreadsheets on individual desktops, tribal knowledge in people's heads, and those workarounds users developed years ago. It's invisible until you try to change it. Pattern number 2. Big Bang change is organizationally attractive but operationally insane. Let's talk about why companies keep choosing Big Bang implementations despite 70% failure rates. Why executives prefer Big Bang. Looks decisive. We're transforming the business. Clean timeline. 18-month project plan fits on PowerPoint slide. Clear success metric. Go live date. Consultant preference. More dramatic, bigger fees. Board appeal. Digital transformation sounds better than gradual modernization. Why Big Bang fails operationally. No learning. Can't fix problems before full deployment. No rollback. All systems change simultaneously. Maximum disruption. Entire business affected at once. Overwhelming support load. All users need help at once. Phased approach. Pros. Learn from each phase. Limit blast radius. Can roll back individual modules. Build user confidence gradually. Cons. Longer calendar time. Sounds less transformative. Harder to sell to the board. Requires running parallel systems. Notice the cons are all political, presentational. The pros are all operational, practical. This is the pattern. Organizationally attractive is not equal to operationally sound layoffs. Organizationally attractive. We're being decisive, cutting costs. Operationally insane. Lose institutional knowledge, tank morale, outsourcing. Organizationally attractive. Look at the cost savings. Operationally insane. Lose control. Quality suffers office mandates. Organizationally attractive. We're establishing culture. Operationally insane. Lose top talent. Productivity drops. The pattern. Things that look good on PowerPoint slides often fail in actual operations, but executives are evaluated on board presentations, strategic vision, decisive action, not on operational stability, institutional knowledge preservation, risk management. So they choose the dramatic, risky approach. And when it fails, they blame the consultant, the vendor, the employees, resistant to change, never, the approach itself. Interesting. Pattern. 3. The sunk cost trap kills companies. And now the most dangerous pattern of all. Why companies can't stop ERP projects even when they're clearly failing. Typical ERP death spiral. Month 6. Budget, $10 million spent, $10 million total. Status, behind schedule, some issues. Decision, we're committed, keep going. Month 12. Budget, $15 million spent, $10 million total. 50% over. Status, major problems emerging. Decision, we've spent too much to quit now. Month 18. Budget, $20 million spent, $10 million total, 100% over. Status, go live delayed, testing failing. Decision, just need a few more months. Month 24. Budget, $30 million spent, $10 million total, 200% over. Status, catastrophic go live, business disrupted. Decision, can't go back, must make this work. Month 30. Budget, $40 million spent, $10 million total, 300% over. Status, business failing, considering bankruptcy. Decision, how did we get here? It's time to refresh my LinkedIn profile. The sunk cost trap. At every decision point, executives think, we've already spent X million dollars. If we quit now, that's wasted. We need to keep going to realize the value. But that's irrational. Now, the rational decision. Ignore sunk costs already spent, can't recover. Compare cost to continue versus value of success versus cost of failure. The emotional decision. Must justify money already spent. Success will retroactively justify costs. Quitting. Shasu admitting failure. What executives should ask at each checkpoint. If we started this project today, knowing what we know now, would we? If the answer is no, stop the project. But they don't ask this. Instead, they ask, how do we justify the money we've already spent? And the answer is always, keep spending until it works. This pattern kills companies. The Concorde jet, technically inferior to Boeing. 747. Uneconomical from early on. British and French governments kept funding. Decades of losses. Too big to fail mentality. California high-speed rail. Budget, $33 billion to $100 billion and climbing. Timeline, 2020, 2030s at earliest. Constantly too far along to cancel. Failed acquisitions. HP Autonomy, $11 billion write-down. They kept trying to make it work. Microsoft Nokia 7.6B write-down, sunk cost trap. ERP projects are particularly vulnerable because 1. Can't demo failure to board, too complex to explain. 2. Consultant excuses sound plausible. Data quality issues, not our fault. 3. Executives' reputations tied to success, can't admit failure. 4. Quitting means writing off a massive investment. Looks worse than continuing. So they keep going and going and going until the project or the company fails. Alright, so what do you actually do with this information? Whether you're about to start an ERP implementation in the middle of one or evaluating a vendor, here's what matters. If you're planning an ERP implementation, here are critical decisions to make before signing anything. Decision number 1, Big Bang versus phased. Choose phased unless you have. Very simple business, single location, one product line. Infinite budget for parallel systems. Appetite for catastrophic failure risk. Default, phased migration. Decision. Number 2, customization level. Customize these, critical competitive advantage. Unique customer-facing processes. Proprietary pricing, terms logic. Industry-specific workflows. Don't customize these. Commodity processes. Standard accounting. GAAP is GAAP. Basic HR workflows. Generic reporting action. Make an explicit list before the project starts. Decision number 3. Consultant role? Implementation partner. Unlimited scope. Paid by the hour. Incentive. Make the project longer. Fixed fee contractor. Define deliverables. Paid for outcomes. Incentive. Finish efficiently. Action. Insist on fixed fee contracts with penalty clauses for delays. Decision number 4. Data strategy. Do this 12 months before migration. Data audit. Where does critical data actually live? What's in spreadsheets versus systems? What's the quality level? Data cleanup. Deduplicate. Fill missing fields. Reconcile discrepancies. Shadow IT inventory. Find all the access databases. Document all the Excel files. Understand all the workarounds. Companies that succeed do data cleanup before vendor selection. Companies that fail discover data problems during the go-live weekend. Decision number 5. Kill criteria. Before the project starts, define, we will stop this project if budget exceeds original estimate by 50%, timeline extends beyond 2 times the original, key business metrics decline by X% during pilot, data quality can't reach Y% accuracy. Write these down. Get executive sign-off. Revisit quarterly. And actually enforce them. Most companies define success criteria. Smart companies define failure criteria. If you're in the middle of a failing ERP project, red flags that your ERP project is failing. Consultants keep requesting extensions. Just need 3 more months. Data issues we didn't anticipate. Scope has evolved. Action. Freeze scope. Deliver what's planned or stop. Testing keeps uncovering new issues. Tests failing repeatedly. Each fix breaks something else. Just a few more bugs. Action. If testing hasn't passed after 3 cycles, stop and reassess. Business users panicking. This will break our operations. Current workarounds won't work. We're not ready. Action. Listen to them. They know the business better than consultants. Data migration still in progress, weeks before go live. We're 90% done. Forever. Test migrations failing. No successful full cycle test. Action. Do not go live until you have 3 successful full data migration tests. If you see 3+ of these red flags, stop the project. Not slow down, not reassess, stop. Sunk costs are already lost. Continuing throws good money after bad. The question is, do we want to lose 20 million or 50 million hours? Choose 20 million. If you're evaluating ERP vendors, questions to ask that separate good vendors from disasters. Vendor assessment questions. Show me 3 implementations in my industry that went live on time, on budget. If they can't, they don't have a track record. What's your average budget overrun percentage? Industry average 50%. If they say 0%, they're lying. If they say under 20%, ask for proof. Can I talk to customers who had failed implementations? Learn from failures, not just successes. If they refuse, walk away. What's included in base price versus professional services? Software, 20% of cost. Implementation, 50% of the cost. Get a detailed breakdown. What happens if we need to roll back? Do they have rollback procedures? Or is it, you can't roll back? The most important question, how do you prevent scope creep? If the answer is vague or we work collaboratively, they will massively overrun the budget. If the answer is fixed price contract with defined scope and change order process, they might actually finish. Let's talk about why this pattern keeps repeating. Every year, thousands of companies start ERP implementations. 70% fail to meet objectives, billions wasted. Some companies went bankrupt. And yet, companies keep making the same mistakes. Why? Reason number 1, information asymmetry. Companies undertake ERP migrations every 10 to 20 years. Consultants do dozens per year. Consultants know all the pitfalls. Consultants also know they can exploit client ignorance. Reason number 2, organizational amnesia. The executives who managed the last ERP migration retired or moved on. The people managing this migration, learning from scratch, no institutional memory. Reason number 3, this time will be different, fallacy. Every company thinks, our consultants are better, our vendor is better, our team is better. We've learned from others' mistakes. Then they make the same mistakes. Here's what ERP failures teach us about large-scale change. Complexity is always underestimated. Big transformations are attractive but risky. Sunk costs trap companies into continuing failures. And most importantly, the people selling you the transformation have different incentives than you do. You want fast, cheap, low risk. They want long, expensive, complex. That misalignment is the problem. ERP systems run businesses. ERP implementations destroy businesses. The difference between success and failure, phased approach, realistic scope, data preparation, kill criteria, and the courage to stop when it's failing. Most companies lack that last one. Don't be like most companies. This is the breakdown economy. I'm Tony. Next week, the CDN that broke the internet, how Fastly's configuration change took down Reddit, Amazon, CNN, and half the web in 1 hour. Subscribe to see the next breakdown before it happens. And if you're about to start an ERP project, do the data audit first. Define kill criteria now, and choose phased over Big Bang. Your company's survival might depend on it. I'll see you next Thursday.